sing a happy song together, and we'll all be a happy family.
Right, welcome back to the channel. So we're looking at this little Cossor radio, which does, or did actually work before I started pulling it to bits. Hopefully will still work once it's back together. The casualty list so far, 7 electrolytics, and I thought, well, okay, the radio's working, this can't be too bad. Well, at least a couple of them wouldn't test. Several of them were very leaky. I think about one of them was just about in spec. Considering those are, something like 60 years old, it makes sense just to replace them anyway. But the radio, as I say, was working, so it's surprising how tolerant the circuit was of these capacitors. So that's those. So we've now, I'll hold that up a bit more. I have actually fitted, not expensive ones, cheap ones from a kit really, but we got new capacitors there, replacing those 7. And a couple of them were in the signal path of the audio and things like that, 2 or 3 of them were. So it probably will actually perform better now, having changed those. So that was one issue with it. Now, the other thing, of course, is, yes, the dreaded AF117s, which were working, but one of these, if you tapped it, occasionally the radio would cut out, and tap it again and it would cut back in. So there's definitely a little bit of tin whiskers there. There's no evidence that they'd been out before, so I don't think somebody else has given them the zap treatment. But we need to really give them the zap treatment, I think, to try and make sure there's no tin whiskers about to short them out. Sometimes you just get away with just disconnecting the screen lead, which is connected to the case. I will probably not reconnect the screen lead when I put them back. I don't intend to snip it off. I tend to try and tuck it out of the way somewhere, but I think it will make them less likely to give a problem if I don't connect the screen. And I don't think it's vital to the function of the radio to have the screen case connected. So there will be a matter of soldering on each of these, the emitter base and collector leads together, and then discharging a capacitor. You'd probably use both rails of my power supply, which will give me 60 volts, stick that across a capacitor and then discharge the capacitor between the case and the collectively wired leads to the transistor. Test them again and hope they're still transistors. I have options if they're not. I have some other old AF117s from radios I replaced with the Russian ones. The Russian ones I've got, they've only got a HFE of around about 70. They're not very good. I don't really want to use those, so I'm going to give these a zap treatment and put them back if they're still working. So that will be my next step. But I thought it might be interesting just to give these a quick test. So I've got my little Chinese multi-tester with leads that keep falling to pieces, and we'll see if we can actually test these. Now, one of them I marked with a black dot, and the other I didn't mark at all. So the one with the black dot was the one being used as the oscillator one, and the other one, well, that one mounted up here somewhere, around about here. The other one is down here. So I'm trying not to change the position of the leads, so they should drop back in. I've made a note of which way round they were. and we'll see how we get on. But again, as I say, these leads are horrible. I need to get a set of leads that I can use with this, I think. So the black one particularly is partly broken, doesn't go on very well. All right, that's got those connected, so let's just see what we get. Now it's saying it's not recognised. Yeah, it was before, so let's try again. Could be this lead. Wiggle them around a bit, make sure they're making contact. Try again. Now it finds it's a transistor. Gives it an HFE of 123. Now, I don't know if you can see that very well on the video, but it's also showing like a diode between the collector and emitter, and it had something like 2.6 volts that marked on there. Now, I'm not quite sure how to interpret that, but I don't think that's right, so that probably indicates an issue with tin whiskers. That was the one that if you tapped it would cut out the radio sometimes. So let's just try the other one. Yep, so it recognises that one. It gives it a gain of 91. So not that much better than the Russian ones I've got. And again, we've got this little diode between the collector and emitter, and this time it's got 2.4, the other one had 2.6. So I'm not sure why that happens, whether that indicates that it's leaking. And you know, it just doesn't look right to me. So we'll see what they're like once they've been zapped, but that could be an issue. So that's the point I'm at this point. I've changed the 7 capacitors, tested those, and the next step is to do the zapping. Okay, so what I've done, it's very clear to see this, but I've got a piece of wire, just soldered the 3 leads of the transistor to it, and I've got the screen lead just hanging off here. So what I've got to do is touch the case of the transistor and the wire with a charged up capacitor. So the capacitor here, it's 47 microfarads. I don't know if that's really sufficient. I suppose it is. It doesn't matter as long as we get a hefty voltage across there. Power supply, background here, plugged in there. Let's attach the capacitor. Definitely want to make sure I get this the right way around, because that's out of shot, isn't it? There we are. So that's the negative side, and connect the positive side on here. And then give that a charge. So we turn this on, and I'll wind this up to both sides up to 30 volts. So that now means I've got the capacitor charged up to 60 volts. The next step is to take the transistor and try and get one side to there, and the didn't see any or hear any satisfying cracks when I did that. Interesting to see what the charge is on the capacitor. Well, it's still got 40 volts across it, so whether that means it hasn't worked, I don't know. Just reconnecting it. A lot of things may happen out of shot because there isn't a lot of room here. But basically, I'm just going to connect the capacitor across there. Make sure it's got its 60 volts on it. Just giving the transistor a bit of a tap as I do it. Okay, let's see what voltage we've got. Yeah, we've still got 40 volts there. So I don't know whether that's good or bad, but I've certainly put 60 volts across it either way round. I don't know if it's really done anything. And anyhow, I'll now do the same thing with the other transistor. So the other transistor, likewise prepared, with 3 of the leads soldered together. We get the capacitor. This is going to be 60 volts, but it could tingle a bit. I'll try not to touch it. Okay, there we go. So we just switch this on. There we are. We charge the capacitor up to voltage. Well, try not to touch both sides at once. Let's take that as the groundy side, touch it between there and there. I don't think we'd have discharged the capacitor much, but I'll just check. Again, there's still 40 volts on there. We'll repeat the process again. Again, we do the tapping as well. I think people differ a bit on how they do this. I'm not sure it's done anything, but maybe it has. Okay, so we'll just have a look, see what voltage is on there now. Oh, it's not discharged it. Yeah, it's still got 40 volts on there. So, yeah, whether that's done anything, who knows, we'll see. Wind those back down. So next time I go to use it, I don't apply 60 volts to something. There we go. Okay, so back to the tester. See if the leads stay together long enough. Again, it's this black one that's broken. Let's get it on there, that's it. Well, yeah, that one's testing much the same. That's the one without the black dot. We seem to have got slightly more gain. It was 90, now it's 111. But we've still got that little diode marked on there. I don't know if that's showing up on the camera. Yeah, it goes off as soon as I do that. There's a little diode mark there with 2.53 volts between the collector and emitter, but that was the same as before, and the gain was reading slightly better this time. So we'll see. They'll just, if they still test as transistors, we'll just put them back in the radio and see whether we do get any issues. So the other one, I think I would point out, actually, if anybody watches me doing this and if not actually made a video or tried to make a video, it's more difficult than most people realise when you go and try to do it. It's so easy to be chatting away and everything you've done was out of shot, things like that. It's I'm actually monitoring this on my laptop as well, so hopefully I won't make that error too often. Right, let's just see what this one does. No, it's only seeing a diode. Does that mean we've ruined it? Try again. I'm not entirely sure, saying one's not connected to anything. Now it's seeing it as two diodes. That was the one that was iffy before, so yeah. Now it's seeing as a transistor. Yeah. I think we'll allow that's probably the leads on this thing playing up again, because it's giving me a better gain than it was before. This one was better gain than the other one anyway, and this is now giving me a gain of 144. See if it retests it. Okay, yeah, 145, and we've got again that diode between C and E showing 2.6 volts. That seems to have been consistent, but yeah, allowing for the dodgy leads on this thing, they do seem to be still testing as transistors. So I suppose the thing to do is to reassemble the radio. So that's it for now, and Thanks for watching, and we'll let you know how this goes.
Sing a happy song together, and we'll all be a happy family.